So, when you hear the name Hermes, you probably think of a messenger god with some cool winged sandals, right? But that is just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to dive into the story of a god who's so much more than that. He's the ultimate charming trickster.
And get this, he didn't waste a single second earning that title. This timeline you're looking at, that all happened on the very first day of his life. It's honestly one of the wildest origin stories in all of mythology, and it tells you everything you need to know about who he is. All right, so where does this crazy story kick off? It starts in a hidden cave on Mount Silene. Hermes was the son of Zeus and a mountain nymph named Maia. And, being a secret son of Zeus, Maia had to raise him far away from Olympus to keep him safe from the, let's say, very jealous eyes of Zeus's wife, Hera. But Hermes was not your average baby. Not even close. He was a god, and he knew it right from the start. Lying there in his little cradle, he was already buzzing with this restless energy, this ambition. A quiet life in a cave? No way. He was already scheming, planning his big debut on Mount Olympus. So, the second his mother turned her back, the infant god slipped out of his cradle and went exploring. And on his very first trip outside the cave, he immediately puts that divine creativity to work. He spots something that gives him a brilliant idea. And this whole process just shows you how his mind works. He sees a tortoise, and he doesn't just see an animal, he sees an opportunity. He skillfully turns this shell, a couple of horns, and some sheep gut into the world's very first lyre. And of course, he instantly masters it, just loving the incredible music he can make. But hey, a new toy can only keep a baby god entertained for so long, right? As evening rolled in, he got a new craving for meat. But it was more than that. He wanted to make a name for himself, to make a splash. So he sets his sights on the prized cattle belonging to his famous, powerful, and very proud older brother, the god Apollo. And he did not mess around. A newborn baby, all by himself, somehow separates 50 of Apollo's absolute finest, fattest cattle from the rest of the herd. This wasn't just stealing. This was a direct challenge to one of the biggest shots on Olympus. And the way he did it is just pure trickster genius. First, he ties branches to the cows' tails, so they sweep away their own tracks. Then, he makes these giant sandals for himself out of leaves to leave these bizarre, unidentifiable footprints. And here's the best part. He makes the whole herd walk backward, so anyone trying to follow their tracks would be heading in the complete opposite direction. Genius! Now, every perfect crime has one little risk. And for Hermes, it was a single witness, an old man named Battus, who was out in his vineyard. So Hermes walks up to him and delivers this, well, it's a veiled threat. It's not loud or aggressive, but the message is crystal clear. Keep your mouth shut if you want to see another harvest. Of course, the next morning, Apollo realizes his best cattle are gone. He is furious. He starts investigating, and thanks to a little tip from a bird who saw the whole thing, he traces the crime right back to Maia's cave. The showdown was about to get a major upgrade, from a field in Arcadia to the highest court in the entire cosmos. And this scene is just perfect. You have Apollo radiating pure godly rage, threatening eternal punishment in the darkest pit of the underworld. And on the other side, you've got Hermes, all wrapped up in his baby blankets, looking up innocently and basically saying, "A cow? What's a cow? I'm just a baby who likes milk and naps." It's an absolutely masterful performance. Apollo, obviously, is not buying it for a second. But just as he's about to snatch the baby, Hermes plays his trump card. He demands they take the case to Zeus himself for a final ruling. And that was the real plan all along. This was never just about the cattle. It was about getting a face-to-face meeting with his father and claiming his spot on Mount Olympus. Well, Zeus, seeing his tiny, clever son completely outwit the great Apollo, can barely hold back his laughter. He's just so amused and, honestly, incredibly proud. He tells Hermes to lead Apollo to the hidden cattle, but as they get there, the story takes one last brilliant turn. So while Apollo is still fuming about his stolen herd, Hermes just calmly picks up his new invention. He starts to play, and the music that comes out is so unbelievably beautiful, so enchanting, that it stops the literal god of music dead in his tracks. Apollo is just mesmerized. Apollo decides right then and there that this instrument is worth way more than 50 cows. He has to have it.
So they strike a deal. Hermes offers Apollo the lyre, the perfect gift for the god of music, and swears they'll be friends forever. In return, Apollo gives Hermes his own golden staff, the caduceus, a huge symbol of power and authority, and promises to protect him and secure his status. With one slick bargain, Hermes turns a capital crime into his greatest victory.
Back on Olympus, Zeus is so impressed with his son's cleverness that he officially welcomes Hermes into the family of gods. And he doesn't just give him a seat at the table, he assigns him some of the most critical and wide-ranging jobs in the whole pantheon. He becomes Zeus's personal messenger, the one trusted with the most secret and important missions. But look at this list. He's the god of travelers and merchants, but also of thieves. You see the pattern? He's the god for anyone who operates on the edges, who crosses boundaries. He's the master of negotiation, using that same slick tongue that got him out of trouble in the first place. And finally, he was given one truly special responsibility. Hermes became the psychopomp. That means he's the one who guides souls to the underworld. Think about how important that is. He was the only god, other than Hades and Persephone, who could travel freely between the world of the living, the heavens of Olympus, and the realm of the dead. He is, quite literally, the god of all things in between. So what's the big takeaway from Hermes' very first day? His story shows us that communication, commerce, and cunning aren't just related ideas. At their core, they're all about the same skill. They all demand the cleverness to navigate the spaces in between people, between places, and even between worlds. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What is the true link that ties them all together?